Welcome back to Channel Cardi. What's up guys? I'm Editor James. Today I brought you the 2023 Kia Seltos Facelift. Alright, as always, let's start with the front. Alright, today what I have is the beautiful Pluton Blue 2023 Kia Seltos Facelift model. Man, it's a long name, right? The grille has changed a little bit. Like there hasn't been major changes, but yes, there have been slight changes overall, right? So even the grills and then the daylight DRL, right? It used to be positioned like up right here, but now it is positioned somewhat like in the middle of the grille. And yes, the overall design, well, not too much design, but yes, there has been some changes. I just want to tell you that. And then I think one thing about cars these days, right? They are so detailed. Even all this integrated chrome moldings in the front, it has all this diamond patterns here and even down here too. So I think cars these days are being very, very detailed. All right, another thing that has been changed is the LED light. Well, the previous model only had 3 LED lights, but now it has 4. Well, 4 is always better than 3, right? The part of the reason I cannot put my hand on the hood is because this is a gasoline model. If I touch it, it's really, really high. Again, what I have today is the 1.6 turbo with an 8-speed transmission. That's the another thing that has changed. Previous model, it had what? 7-speed dual clutch DCT, but now we have an 8-speed. So I will get to more into that later. All right, let's go to the side. The 2023, the facelift model comes in 2 sizes of the wheels, right? 16-inch and 18-inch. Well, what we have is the full option today, 1.6 turbo with 18-inch Kumo, Majesty 9 tires. So the design-wise, is not my personally favorable looking design, but I guess these types of like laser cutting, two-toned rims are somewhat popular these days. And on the side, to be honest with you, there's nothing much I can really tell about the side because there hasn't been much changes, and then there's nothing too much to tell. Nothing really too special. I think the size of this car is almost identical or perhaps slightly bigger compared to the Kia Niro. Now I'm in the back. All right, the 2 things that has been changed for sure is that the not first generation, like the previous model before the facelift, right? Here, I want you to take a look at this integrated line right here. All right, the previous model has a big piece of like chrome lines right in the center. But the facelift model is one integrated the light. I mean, the light itself, it is cut off in the middle because of the Kia emblem, but the covering, the light covering outside, the housing, is integrated as a one line. So that's one major change of the rear design. And again, if you look on the bottom, the bumper, right? All right, before the facelift model, there used to be the exhaust tips, but it is gone. Instead, we have the backing light, the rear lights, and I think this might be the lights, or maybe it's the rear fog lights. So I think this is the major changes that 2023 Kia Seltos facelift model has made. So overall, I think it's a very good looking rear. Personally, yes, I think it's a very well designed. Voila! It opens. So I'm gonna have to be honest with you. This is not a really huge SUV. This is kind of like, you know, almost the same size as a Kia Niro. So the trunk space is not really huge. It doesn't mean it's very small, but I'm just telling you, it's not really big trunk space that you are expecting. So it could be, you know, not big enough for some families, but you know what? Unless you are loading up something big or heavy, I personally think it's more than enough. All right, so a couple things that I want to show you about the trunk. Whatever this is, we have like, you know, this board hanging up attached by, you know, these ropes and the strings right here. So simply, if you want this to move along, as every time you open the trunk, you can simply just detach it, right? By unhooking the rope. If you need to place or if you need to load something taller, right? Then you can simply just remove this board, pull it out, and then, yes, you can just lower it. So you have extra amount of space, the taller space, then you can load up. All right, now I'm sitting in the back. First thing first, look at this beautiful caramel interior. You know what? It is soft too. I personally like this color very much. I'm 5'11" and I'm pretty big guy, right? But look how much space I have around my legs. I'm pretty surprised that I have enough space so I can sit here and then just go wherever for a long time. Kia cars are known for providing many charging ports right here. So here on the bottom, right below the air vents, we have Type-C ports, 2 of them, okay? And here we have a little storage. Perhaps you can, you know, place your phone or maybe cigarettes or whatever. So that's something that we have right here. And one more thing I want to tell you is, oh, James, how do we recline the seat? Well, simply you can pull the lever, right? And then if you just press against your back, it reclines, it tilts a little bit more. So again, well, you will have to turn around and, you know, pull the lever. That's a little inconvenient, but then I would rather have a reclining than not having one. So, yep, that's for the rear. All right, so I'm on a driver's seat, and again, this is my driving position. As you all know, the first thing I do when I test a new car, I always put my hands on the steering wheel, and again, this is beautiful. All right, so what has changed compared to the previous model before the facelift? As far as I remember, we didn't have one big integrated piece of screens right here. I mean, the screens are separated, but as you can see, this is one big piece of integrated glass, right? And one other thing that caught my eyes is the HUD. Okay, well, this is like rather little a generic, I guess, because usually when you're thinking of a HUD, the, you know, the graphics, the numbers and everything, it, you know, directly reflects off the front windshield. But now, again, this is kind of like an economical version, right? This is not a really expensive car, so I guess, I don't know. Well, it doesn't look that fancy, but it does the job. So, well, but I personally prefer the one without this, the plastic, the reflector or whatever. So, yeah, but you know, it does the job. And one another change that I can assure you, or that Kia has made, is the design of the climate control right in the center. If you can take a look at it very closely, yes, the design has changed. And even the gear right here is the dial type, just like any other Kia models. So yes, even the Kia Seltos has gone through some of the changes and now is an up-to-date design. Here, there's a small button right here and it says drive. And if I press it down, as you can see on the cluster, now it is switched to normal mode, right? But if I press it one more time, it is switched to sports mode. All right, now back to the button. If I press this one more time, as you can see, it changes to traction mode, snow mode, mud mode, sand mode. I don't think we have too many opportunities to use those times except the snow mode, because in Korea we have 4 distinctive seasons. But I just wanted to show you that. And again, the previous model, it didn't really give you, you know, the facelift model not only added the around view pictures, right, but it also added the cluster pictures. This is, you are very aware of that, right? When you are driving and if you want to switch lane, instead of just looking at the side mirror, if you can directly look through your cluster, it is also very helpful and also very safer. Alright, now the most fun part of the review is the test drive. We are driving just outside of Seoul. The Kia Seltos is something that I have never driven before, so yes, I am, you know, more likely very excited. One thing I can tell you about this car is that, as I told you earlier, this is a 1.6 turbo with a 198 horsepower, 27 kilogram-meter of torque. So since it's only 1.6, I wasn't really expecting that, okay, this car cannot be fast. It's only 1.6. But unlike my expectation, you know what? This car seems very light. I think we have to thank, you know, the turbo that it has. So right now, I'm on an eco mode, and then, you know, when you are actually put your foot against the gas pedal, right? You know how fast you can drive your car. You know, you can actually feel how fast you can drive your car, right? But unlike my expectation, I'm pretty surprised that, whoa, like it's not like wow super fast, but I'm saying it feels very light, and then if I want to reach at certain speed, I think I can, you know? So that's something beyond my expectation. And all the Kia cars these days, right? They, I think they manufacture the brake system really well. So even though this is an SUV, I don't feel that it's not stopping on time. Of course, I'm not driving too fast because I'm driving inside a city, you know, even though it is just the outskirt of Seoul, but still it's very crowded, you know. Let me try to test this and that, okay? But as for the brake, as always, it's really great. It stops very well, and then I don't feel that, oh my god, I'm gonna crash into something, you know. So even though this is not an EDC suspension, right, it's just a regular, you know, the normal suspension with a torsion beam in the rear, but I believe that the car, the suspension reads the condition of the road so well. Even though I'm driving at about like 45 miles per hour and the road is not perfectly flat, some are bumpy, some are, you know, nice paved, but most of the time in winter it does snow in South Korea, so the road condition cannot be like perfectly fine, you know. So even though right now I'm purposely choosing to drive like sort of a bumpy road just to feel how the suspension reacts, but apparently, as always, it does a great job. I'm surprised that this is not an EDC and it still does the job really well. So, and yeah, like I said, this car starts at like what, 22,000 US dollars. I'm pretty sure it could have reached up to like maybe like 30,000 or perhaps a little bit more. Now I don't see too many cars, so let's switch to sports mode. Let's see how fast this car can go. Okay, wow, it's a little beast. So it's not like, oh my god, I'm using like nitrous oxide NO2 NOS. So it's not that kind of acceleration, but yes, the 1.6 turbo, it surely yanks it out. And plus the 8-speed, I'm pretty sure that the reason why they have adopted the 8-speed the transmission is because it's so much better when it comes to fuel efficiency, especially on a highway. But yeah, it wasn't so bad, I wouldn't say. It's not so bad. The acceleration, I don't know how fast it can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour, but yes, it wasn't disappointing. I'm actually surprised. I don't know it's about only the testing vehicle or not, but I'm driving on a local road, and then when I stopped at the light and then, start to drive again, I purposely, floored it to see how fast it can go, right? Just for a second. But then maybe it's because it's a small engine. Maybe this is probably designed for fuel efficiency. I don't know. Whatever the reason is that it's not like at the first gear or at the lower gear, right? It doesn't give you the immediate response. So when the light changed from red to green, I kind of floored it, and then it seems like the car responded like almost 1 second later. It's not like if you press the gas, it just should go like immediately, right? But it's just like, wait a minute, okay, boom, and then it just kind of took off. So that's the only thing I kind of felt. As for the acceleration, this is actually more than what I expected, but in the beginning, it's a little hesitant. So that's how I put it. And I think the previous model before the facelift, yeah, I think it was more hesitant when it was to actually take off from zero, right? From ground zero. But I think it has gotten a little bit better as I was talking with my co-editor. This is a 1.6 turbo. It's a rather small engine, right? But even though it's a 1.6 liter, I mean, it has a turbo, so it produces about like almost 200 horsepower. If you are setting cruise control like driving on a highway, I think it will probably give you a really, really good fuel efficiency. Because I don't know, I'm just keep on feeling that this car is very light. I don't know, I'll have to look it up, the brochure, like how heavy this car is, how much it actually weighs. But I don't know, it feels really, really light. It feels like if I just press the gas, the car can just take off immediately. That's how it feels. Like it feels really, really light. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it also provides really, really good fuel efficiency. It's not so fancy, it's not so luxurious, but it does have what it needs. And like both Niros and Seltos, I think they are very practical cars. So yeah, I strongly suggest you to test drive it once it arrives at your local dealer. So I personally think that the Seltos and Niro are probably in the same size segment. So many people, and they are both from the Kia, right? So I think many domestic owners are hesitating which one to buy, right? So this one, Seltos, I think it only comes in a gasoline model. But as you know, the Kia Niro, it comes in both the gasoline and the hybrid, and even the electric vehicle. So I think a Seltos, the design-wise, it's more dynamic, and then I think it's something that maybe younger people will prefer to the Niro when it comes to exterior. But then if you think about being economical or being the price reasonable, because the Niro comes in both the EV and the hybrid, I think saving money or being economical, I think a Niro wins. But then, even though EV is very economical and it's very quiet and everything, but still, driving a gasoline model, there's something about driving a gasoline model. It just makes your heart like pound when you are accelerating. But EV doesn't have that because it's super quiet. So I'll put it this way: if you are married and if you have a family, like perhaps with kid or a couple kids, right? I think people choose to buy Niro, right? Because having a family is it costs more, But then if you're still single, or maybe even if you're married and you don't have kids yet, then I think they would rather choose the Seltos. Alright, so today I got a chance to drive the 2023 Kia Seltos Facelift model. It wasn't very luxury, it wasn't very fancy in and out, but I liked it. It's an economical, it's a practical, and the price is very reasonable. Please test drive it for yourself. I will come back with a better review next time. If you like the review, please smash that like button and make sure to subscribe. Goodbye, guys.